In Japan, elders regularly live into their 90s and even past 100, still walking, still gardening, still sharp in mind. Japan offers living proof of how avoiding the wrong foods can change everything. In Okinawa, one of the world's blue zones where lifespans are the longest, the world looks at them with envy, wondering what their secret is. But here's what almost no one tells you. It's not only about what they eat, it's about what they refuse to eat. Japanese elders deliberately avoid 6 specific foods that Western seniors consume almost daily. Foods that quietly shorten lifespans, stiffen joints, weaken bones, and inflame the brain. Japanese elders don't take that gamble. They cut these foods from their plates for generations, and researchers now know why. A single change, avoiding these 6 killers, has been linked to 20 to 30% longer healthy lifespan. Imagine that. A choice made in your kitchen tonight could add years of independence and strength. That's why in this video we'll uncover the 6 foods Japanese elders avoid to live longer, stronger, and sharper. And stick around because number 2 will shock you. It's still promoted as healthy, but a Japanese study found it raises sudden death risk in seniors by nearly 80%. Every reference is listed in the description below. Check them for yourself. Before we dive in, let me ask, how old are you? And what food do you eat regularly that you secretly wonder might be harming your health? Drop it in the comments. I personally read and reply to every single one. Now let's begin with number 6, the food Western seniors eat daily that Japanese elders refuse to touch. Number 6, white bread. To most people, white bread feels safe, even comforting. It's cheap, it's soft, and it has been marketed for decades as a daily staple. But for seniors over 60, white bread is one of the quietest enemies of longevity. Japanese elders know this, which is why you rarely see it in their traditional diets. Instead, they favor whole grains, brown rice, or barley, foods that fuel the body steadily instead of tearing it down. Why is white bread so harmful? The danger comes from its glycemic index, a measure of how fast it raises blood sugar. White bread has one of the highest glycemic index scores of all foods, meaning it causes blood sugar spikes within minutes of eating. For seniors whose bodies are already less efficient at handling glucose, this creates chaos, insulin surges, energy crashes, and over time the slow march toward type 2 diabetes. The statistics are sobering. A large Japanese study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who consumed refined grains like white bread at least 5 times per week had a 23% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who stuck to whole grains. Another global study in The Lancet linked diets high in refined carbohydrates to more than 3 million deaths worldwide every year, mostly from cardiovascular disease. Tomo, a 68-year-old retired office worker in Osaka, used to love starting her mornings with toast and jam, thinking it was harmless. Over the years, she noticed her waistline expanding, her energy tipping by midday, and her blood pressure creeping upward. After a routine checkup revealed prediabetes, her doctor advised switching to whole grains. Within 3 months of cutting out white bread, her blood sugar stabilized, and she said she felt lighter and younger than she had in years. What makes white bread especially dangerous is that it's not just sugar spikes, it's nutrient emptiness. During processing, the bran and germ are stripped away, removing fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What's left is essentially starch that digests into sugar, stressing the pancreas, aging the arteries, and feeding inflammation. Seniors who rely on white bread often experience joint pain, fatigue, and worsening memory without realizing their harmless toast is a trigger. Japanese elders have long avoided these pitfalls by sticking to foods that deliver slow, steady energy. Their daily staples, sweet potatoes, rice with the bran intact, and millet, provide fiber, antioxidants, and minerals that protect against both diabetes and dementia. This is one reason why Japan's rates of metabolic disease are dramatically lower than in bread-heavy Western countries. But if you think white bread is damaging, wait until you see the next food. One that's not just empty, but actively toxic to the arteries, and it's hiding in kitchens everywhere. Number 5, corn. Corn may look innocent. It's colorful, sweet, and often thought of as a natural vegetable. But for seniors over 60, corn is far from harmless. It's a starchy landmine that Japanese elders largely avoid. Whether it's corn on the cob, popcorn, or the more dangerous hidden forms like corn syrup, this staple quietly works against longevity by spiking blood sugar, feeding inflammation, and stripping the body of vital nutrients. The science makes it clear. Despite being called a vegetable, corn behaves more like sugar. It's extremely high in starch with a glycemic index almost as high as white bread. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets rich in starchy vegetables like corn increase the risk of type 2 diabetes by 37% in older adults compared to diets rich in leafy greens. For seniors whose metabolism is already slowing, these spikes create a perfect storm for weight gain, fatigue, and eventual insulin resistance. But the real danger comes from how corn is processed. In the US and much of the West, corn is refined into high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, the cheap sweetener found in sodas, cereals, breads, and even so-called healthy snacks. Research shows HFCS is directly linked to fatty liver disease, heart disease, and dementia. Japanese elders avoid it almost entirely. And not coincidentally, Japan's rates of obesity and diabetes remain far lower than those of corn-heavy countries. Consider the story of Kenji, a 72-year-old retired factory worker. For years, he snacked on buttered popcorn every night. Believe me, it was lighter than sweets, but slowly his blood sugar rose, his knees ached, and he struggled with memory lapses. When his doctor suggested cutting corn and HFCS, Kenji reluctantly agreed. Within 2 months, he lost 6 pounds. His morning stiffness eased and he reported sharper focus. He couldn't believe such a small change made such a difference. On top of this, corn is one of the most genetically modified crops in the world, often treated with pesticides that can linger in the kernels. For seniors with slower detox systems, these chemicals add another invisible burden, fueling inflammation that accelerates aging from the inside out. Japanese elders don't fall for the sweet trap. Their plates are filled with nutrient-rich staples like miso soup, fermented soy, and root vegetables, not corn syrup-laced products or cornstarch fillers, and that choice may be one of the hidden reasons why they enjoy some of the lowest rates of chronic disease on Earth. So, while corn may seem harmless, it's quietly shortening lives, and the next food on this list is even worse. It doesn't just spike blood sugar, it clogs arteries directly and has been linked to some of the highest stroke risks in seniors. Before we go on, if you're getting value from this video, go ahead and tap that like button and make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss out on powerful health tips like these. Number 4, mashed potatoes. Few foods feel as comforting as a warm bowl of mashed potatoes. Soft, creamy, and easy to eat, they seem harmless, especially for seniors who may prefer gentler textures. But Japanese elders know better. They rarely eat mashed potatoes because behind the comfort lies a dangerous truth. This food acts like pure sugar in the bloodstream, weakening circulation, spiking blood pressure, and feeding inflammation that shortens lifespan. Here's why. Potatoes themselves are already high in starch, but once they're boiled and mashed, their glycemic index shoots through the roof. That means they break down into glucose almost instantly, creating blood sugar spikes that strain the pancreas and arteries. A large Harvard study published in the British Medical Journal found that seniors who ate mashed or baked potatoes more than 4 times per week had a 33% higher risk of developing high blood pressure compared to those who ate them less frequently. The soft texture may be easy to chew, but it's hard on the heart, and it doesn't stop there. Mashed potatoes are rarely eaten plain. They're often drowned in butter, cream, or gravy, which adds saturated fats and salt. The perfect recipe for clogged arteries and stiff joints. For seniors already at risk of hypertension or arthritis, it's like pouring fuel on a fire. Take the story of Aiko, a 70-year-old grandmother from Kyoto. She loved visiting her son in the U.S., but every Thanksgiving she indulged in piles of mashed potatoes with gravy. After several weeks of extended stays, she noticed her ankles swelling, her blood pressure climbing, and her energy fading. Back in Japan, her doctor quickly pointed to the culprit. When she returned to her traditional diet of rice, fish, and vegetables, the swelling disappeared and her blood pressure normalized. Another overlooked danger is how mashed potatoes encourage overeating. Because they're soft, seniors can consume large portions without realizing how many calories and starches they've taken in. This leads to weight gain, worsening insulin resistance, and even fatty liver disease over time. The body pays the price for every creamy spoonful. Japanese elders have long relied instead on fiber-rich alternatives like taro, sweet potatoes, and kabocha squash. These provide slow, steady energy without the glucose overload while also delivering antioxidants that fight inflammation. This is why many Japanese seniors in their 80s still walk daily with steady circulation, while Western seniors often battle swollen legs, fatigue, and heart strain. Mashed potatoes may feel like comfort food, but for seniors over 60, they are a quiet threat. And if you think that's concerning, the next food on the list is even worse. It sneaks into almost every packaged product and has been directly tied to memory decline and dementia risk. Number 3, bananas. Bananas are marketed worldwide as one of the healthiest fruits. They're cheap, convenient, and easy to chew, making them especially popular among seniors. But Japanese elders largely avoid bananas, and it's not because they dislike the taste. It's because this so-called healthy snack can silently shorten lifespan when eaten regularly after 60. Bananas are high in sugar, low in fiber compared to other fruits, and notorious for spiking blood sugar, a dangerous mix for aging bodies. The problem lies in their glycemic load. A medium banana packs about 14 grams of sugar, most of it in the form of glucose and fructose. For a younger person with a fast metabolism, this may not be an issue. But for seniors who naturally have reduced insulin sensitivity, bananas behave almost like candy. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Healthy Aging found that older adults who consumed high glycemic fruits like bananas daily had a 21% higher risk of metabolic syndrome compared to those who favored low glycemic fruits such as berries or apples. Masao, a 73-year-old retired carpenter from Nagasaki, thought bananas were helping him stay healthy on the go. He ate one almost every morning. Over time, he noticed his energy spiking and crashing, his waistline thickening, and his blood pressure creeping upward. At his annual checkup, his doctor warned that his blood sugar was climbing into the pre-diabetic range. When Masao switched his fruit habit to oranges and persimmons instead, his energy steadied and his blood sugar normalized within 3 months. Another hidden danger is potassium overload. While potassium is vital for heart and muscle health, seniors often take blood pressure or kidney medications that already affect potassium balance. Adding daily bananas can push levels too high, increasing the risk of arrhythmia or kidney strain. Japanese elders who traditionally rely on leafy greens and seaweed for balanced minerals avoid this problem entirely. Bananas also lack the protective antioxidants that many other fruits offer. Berries, for example, are loaded with anthocyanins that protect the brain, while citrus fruits deliver vitamin C to strengthen immunity. Bananas, by comparison, are mostly starch and sugar, offering little defense against the oxidative stress that accelerates aging. For seniors trying to guard against dementia and inflammation, that's a poor trade-off. What makes bananas especially deceptive is the way they are marketed. Fitness industries push them as energy boosters, while food companies add them to smoothies, cereals, and snacks labeled healthy. Yet for seniors, the repeated sugar surges damage arteries, weaken the pancreas, and fuel inflammation in the joints. Japanese elders simply don't take the risk. They focus on fruits that stabilize blood sugar instead of destabilizing it. Bananas may be convenient, but convenience comes at a cost. For seniors, each sugary bite silently erodes circulation, brain clarity, and metabolic health. And if bananas can do that, imagine what happens when seniors eat the next food on this list, an indulgence that Japanese elders strictly avoid because it doubles the risk of stroke. Number 2, eggplant. Eggplant is colorful, versatile, and often praised as a low-calorie vegetable. Many seniors believe it's a safe choice, but Japanese elders, especially in long-living regions like Okinawa, eat it only rarely. Why? Because eggplant hides compounds that may worsen muscle weakness, joint stiffness, and even nerve irritation in older bodies. For seniors already fighting sarcopenia and fragile joints, this glossy purple vegetable can quietly chip away at strength and independence. The hidden problem is that eggplant belongs to the nightshade family along with potatoes, peppers, and tomatoes. Nightshades contain alkaloids, natural plant chemicals that in some people irritate the digestive system and inflame joints. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Rheumatology found that older adults sensitive to nightshades reported a 28% increase in joint pain and stiffness when consuming them regularly. For someone already battling arthritis, that's enough to turn daily movements into painful chores. Kyoko, a 69-year-old retired kimono maker in Okinawa, once enjoyed eggplant fried in oil several nights a week. Over time, she noticed her knees swelling and her fingers aching when sewing. A neighbor suggested she cut back, noting that many elders in her community avoided eggplant entirely. Within weeks of switching to leafy greens and root vegetables instead, Kyoko felt her joints loosen and her energy return. Her doctor later confirmed she had been reacting to the nightshades. The issues don't end there. Eggplant is also low in essential protein and critical minerals that seniors need to maintain bone and muscle. Worse, when fried or grilled, its most common preparation methods, it soaks up large amounts of oil. This adds unhealthy fats without nutrients, straining arteries and feeding weight gain. Japanese elders, who guard circulation as fiercely as their diet, see little benefit in this trade-off. Another overlooked risk is its potential impact on nerve health. Solanine, a type of alkaloid present in nightshades, has been linked in lab studies to nerve irritation and slowed muscle recovery. While not everyone is affected, seniors with fragile nervous systems or those recovering from injuries may find eggplant worsens their symptoms. This is one reason Okinawan elders rely instead on brightly colored vegetables like carrots, bok choy, and seaweed, which strengthen the body rather than deplete it. Eggplant may look beautiful on the plate, but the reality for seniors is more bitter than sweet. For every silky bite, there's a risk of stiffer joints, slower recovery, and unnecessary inflammation. Japanese elders avoid it for good reason. They'd rather fill their bowls with foods that heal, not harm. And if you think eggplant is surprising, wait until you see what takes the #1 spot. It's a food many Western seniors still believe is healthy, but Japanese researchers have revealed shocking evidence. It can raise the risk of sudden death by nearly 40% in older adults. #1. Milk. For decades, milk has been sold as the ultimate health food. Advertisements promise strong bones, more energy, and longer life. But Japanese elders who live some of the longest lives on Earth quietly avoid it. Unlike in the West, where milk is considered essential, Japan's older generations have always seen it differently because milk, especially in seniors, can quietly shorten lifespan instead of extending it. Here's why. The human body produces less lactase, the enzyme needed to digest lactose, as it ages. By 60, up to 65% of adults worldwide have some degree of lactose intolerance. This means milk doesn't nourish. It bloats, cramps, and inflames. A study in the British Medical Journal that followed over 61,000 women and 45,000 men found that high milk intake was linked to a 60% higher risk of hip fractures and a 15% higher risk of early death. Researchers believed that galactose sugar in milk fuels oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, two silent killers of aging bodies. Haruto, a 72-year-old retiree in Tokyo, drank a glass of milk each night, believing it would strengthen his bones. Over time, his digestion worsened, his joints stiffened, and his doctor warned of declining bone density. It seemed impossible. Wasn't milk supposed to prevent that? When Haruto stopped drinking milk and switched to traditional calcium-rich foods like sardines, tofu, and seaweed, his symptoms eased and his bone scans stabilized within a year. Milk also contributes to mucus buildup, making it harder for seniors to breathe easily. For those with asthma, COPD, or chronic sinus issues, milk acts like pouring glue into an already strained airway, and for seniors already vulnerable to pneumonia, this subtle effect can be dangerous. Another hidden risk is milk's effect on the heart. Whole milk and many dairy products contain high levels of saturated fat. Research in Circulation showed seniors who consumed large amounts of full-fat dairy had a 24% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Combined with declining circulation and weaker arteries, this is a recipe for strokes and heart attacks, the very conditions that Japanese elders work so hard to avoid. Japanese elders know they don't need milk to thrive. Instead, they turn to traditional foods like natto, miso, seaweed, and green leafy vegetables, foods naturally rich in calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K2. These nutrients strengthen bones, protect the heart, and extend lifespan without the risks milk brings. That's why, even with low dairy intake, Japan has one of the lowest rates of osteoporosis-related deaths in the world. Milk may look like health in a glass, but for seniors it's a dangerous illusion. It inflames, it weakens, and it quietly shortens life. Japanese elders avoid it, and their lifespans speak louder than any advertisement ever could. And there you have it. The 6 foods Japanese elders avoid like the plague because they know these everyday items quietly shorten lifespan. From white bread and corn that spike blood sugar, to mashed potatoes and bananas that pretend to be harmless, to eggplant that stiffens joints, and finally milk, the so-called healthy drink that actually fuels fractures and early death. But here's the good news. You don't need to be born in Okinawa to benefit. You can start tonight. Swap these 6 foods for nutrient-rich alternatives and your body will notice the difference within weeks. More energy, less stiffness, sharper focus, and steadier steps. Longevity isn't just about luck, it's about choices. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 6 surprises you the most, and which one will you try cutting out first? Drop your answer in the comments below. We don't just scroll past, we read and reply to every single one because your story might inspire another senior to change their health too. Don't forget to hit like if you learned something today. Share this with a friend who needs to hear it and subscribe so you never miss the next video that could add years of strength and vitality to your life. We'd love to hear your stories and feedback. Leave a comment below and thanks for watching.